Kwesi Millington here, and today's speaking tip is all about practice. I'm going to give you 5 tips to practicing today, 5 steps to perfect practice. And these are tools that you can use to practice and remember when you're rehearsing your speech. Now, there are a lot of people that maybe believe that you don't need to practice or you don't have to practice, you can just wing it. I believe there are a small percentage of people that can actually wing it. And for most people, practicing is necessary. Here's what practicing does: it allows you to be present in the moment. You can go through your main points and practice your speech to the point where you can just leave it to your subconscious to retain the points and then be present in the moment. I don't know if you've ever seen a speaker that has just been talking at you, where they were just speaking as if they just wanted to get through their content and they weren't worried about their crowd. When you practice and you know your material, it allows you to be present in the moment. And that's so important as a speaker because it makes you look professional and it allows your audience and your listeners to think, you know what? He or she is there for me. They're here, they're present in the moment. So let's go through 5 steps to what I call perfect practice. Now, the first is to practice what I call perfect phrasing. When you are thinking about your stories, and this applies more to stories than anything else, think about the way your audience learns. There are 3 types of learners. There are visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners. So when you write your speech, look for points where you can use seeing, hearing, and feeling words. So instead of the person just walked toward me, you can say, I saw the person walk toward me. Instead of saying something was said, you can say, I heard something was said. Look for ways to add look, hearing, and finally feeling words to your speech. So I felt something, or I was excited, or I was disappointed. You will appeal to all types of learners, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners, if you're able to do that. So practice perfect phrasing. The second is to practice with various body positions. If you are preparing your speech or your talk, don't do it sitting down because you probably won't be delivering it sitting down. If you sit in front of your computer screen and just give your speech, that's not mimicking what you'll actually be doing when you're on stage. So when you're on stage, you'll be up, you'll be gesticulating with your hands, you'll be using gestures, and you'll be speaking and looking out towards a crowd. Now, it may look a little silly, but do that when you're at home or when you're practicing. Literally act as if you are going to be speaking in front of a crowd. Stand up, deliver, do it exactly like you would on stage, and those body positions will come back to you when you're on stage. Practice your movement, where all your different parts of your speech are happening or your story. Don't practice sitting down, practice the way you're going to deliver. Now, the third step is to practice with mistakes. If you make a mistake in practice, the tendency is to want to start over. But you need to get into the habit of making sure that you're ready if you make a mistake live. Because if you make a mistake live, you can't start over. So if you're practicing and you make a mistake, just go with it. And that way, if you practice with mistakes and then you make a mistake on stage, you'll just roll through because you'll already be used to practicing with mistakes. And at the end of the day, a mistake is not really a mistake because only you know what content you're going to present. So if you miss something or you forget something, the only one that really knows, unless you hesitate, is you. So remember to practice with mistakes. Just roll through your content, and your message is most important, not perfection. The fourth step to practicing is to practice anywhere. If you set up the perfect environment at home where your TV is off, you're in a quiet room, you're practicing your speech, and nothing's disturbing you, is that realistic? For that time, yes, but when you're on stage, someone's cell phone may go off. Someone may laugh at a point where they're not supposed to laugh. Someone may get up and need to go to the washroom. Anything can happen when you're giving your live presentation. So think about the fact that things can disturb you. And when you practice, practice anywhere. Practice when you're walking your dog. Practice when you're out driving. Practice when you're out for a run. Practice with distractions. And then if distractions happen when you're live, you'll be ready for it. So practice anywhere. And finally, just practice. Um, I go to the basketball analogy. I don't really watch basketball, but I love success. And Larry Bird used to take 500 free throws every morning. Michael Jordan used to say, I'll read the quote here. He said, "I play to win whether in practice or in the game." Michael Jordan was a firm believer in practice. They have multiple NBA basketball championships between them. There was another player, and if you want to YouTube him, you can. And I loved him as a basketball player. He had a lot of skill, but he has a famous clip that's on TV, and he famously says, "Practice? What about practice?" And he didn't believe in practice, and he didn't win any championships. I don't know if there's a correlation there, but if the very best believe in practice, then I do too, and so should you when you speak. So remember to practice perfect phrasing, practice different body positions, practice with mistakes, practice anywhere, and finally, just practice. When you speak, when you practice, you will look more professional, and it will allow you to be present, to capture the moment and really be there when you speak. Until next time, keep speaking, sharing, and serving.